You know those little flowers, wild grasses, or definitely not weeds your kids hand you on a walk? Most of us just stick them into a random cup or we forget about them completely. But what if your entryway had this beautiful handmade hanging vase waiting for every tiny piece of nature that you bring home? Today we're turning this simple copper wire, which are electrical scraps, into a rustic hanging vase that gives your front entry a soft, welcoming touch. A place where garden clippings, sidewalk flowers, herbs, or those tiny bouquets picked with excitement by little hands. And every time somebody walks through that door, they're greeted with a little reminder to slow down, notice nature, and bring a little bit of the outdoors inside with you. So if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive in. The materials you're going to need today are 10 gauge copper wire, probably about 1.5 meters this length. And then you're going to need, of course, a hammer, a steel block for flattening your wire, some thicker wire cutters, flat pliers, and needle nose pliers. Now, the trick to this, the best container you could use for this, or glass container, is something that is wider on the top than on the bottom. And the reason for this is we're going to be clasping the wire around it, and it's nicer if you can just leave the wire decor on the wall and then just take the glass, empty the water, fill up the water, clean it out, and bring it back and just slide it into the groove. If you can't find a glass container that is bigger on the top than the bottom, another solution would be to have 2 containers. And this one stays on the wall with the wire work that we're going to be doing. And then you can slide a glass inside. And then that way you can still take this and go empty the water and fill the water. But if you're just in love with your glass container, I do love this one. And it is not bigger on the top than the bottom, but it would be perfect. Then that's totally fine too. All you'd have to do is take the wire with you, with the container, dump it out and put it back. So it's not a huge difference, but just that's something to note. Okay, so I always try and find friends that are electricians or somebody doing home decor so that I can get the wire. I use electrical wire for bigger projects. So this is a 10 gauge wire, 2 10 gauge wires. I think that one's actually a 12 gauge there and 210. I'm not sure yet. I'll open it. It's cheaper this way, but you do have to take an X-Acto knife and you have to remove the plastic. And that's a little time consuming, but you can get the hang of it. You stick the bottom on your foot and then you just slide it down. With the smaller gauge wires that we're going to be using today, I actually just buy off Amazon. On my website, twirlcraftstudio.com, I have affiliate links if you want to support my channel. You can also do it with electrical wire, but with the smaller gauges, I just find it's because I use so much more wire, I appreciate not having to take the plastic off. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with taking this off. And like I said, all you do, not that much. You take your X-Acto knife. Of course, you always go away from your body. And I step on it and then I slide it down. And it comes off fairly easily. There is a little effort involved in this, but it comes off fairly easily. So I'll be back once we have the wire. So a lot of people are asking you, well, what length of wire do I use? And thank you for all the comments. You're helping to improve my channel, so keep them coming. So today I thought I would measure how much, because I usually just randomly do projects. And so this measuring tape is saying that it is approximately 50 inches, which is 127 centimeters. Okay, and for this project, I'm going to use this one because it is bigger on the top. But these are all good ones too. Okay, so first step is start with your wire and your vase. And we're going to do, it doesn't have to be exact, but we're going to wrap it around, probably around in half. So I'm going to take my vase, and wrap it around, keeping it nice and tight, like that. And then what we're going to do is first we're going to test it before we tighten it anymore. So we're going to take that. Will it still come off? Yes. Perfect. And then what we do is we take the two wires and we're going to twist it upward and downward, like that. Perfect. And in fact, I'm going to twist one more time so that there's sort of a spiral in the back, like that. And then we're going to test it again. Oh, I see it went a little too tight because I twisted it too many times. So let's back it up a bit and loosen it up a bit. And we're going to, it's still too tight. So I'm going to just back it out a little bit, loosen it so that it stays up top. See, it's too tight on the bottom. Okay, so we're just going to keep it like this. We're going to loosen it. And you always just have to test it before you go. So I'm going to loosen this a little bit. Let's start it again. We're going to undo the wire. Keep the wire at the top of your glass, of course, being careful as to not break the glass, not put too much on the glass. Okay, and then, okay, I'm going to actually straighten this again and try again. The more you twist it in the back, the smaller it gets. So I'm keeping it up here at the top while I twist it this time. Okay, here we go. It's right at the top and keeping it nice and high as I twist. There, that works better. And then I'm going to twist again. Watch out. Wearing glasses is a good thing because you don't poke your eye out. Okay, so I did it again, the spiral, and now I'm going to test it. Yes. So it's going to stay in there snug, but it also can come out if I need it too, out the top. Okay, so I'm going to take a moment to flatten the back a little bit because it kind of is sticking out. I sometimes get so involved in the craft, I forget to speak, so I will try to keep speaking. There we go. Perfect. Okay, try it again. Yep, that's perfect. And then it's nice and flat in the back. Now, I'm just going to do some simple designs. You can use your needle nose pliers or you can use flat pliers for this start. I am just going to go back and forth with the needle nose pliers, up and down, okay, in kind of a zigzag. I'm going to do less now because I want enough room for my spiral. Okay, and now I'm left with about this much for my spiral. Let's do the bottom now. I'm going to make smaller squiggles so it goes down a little further. There we go. And I'm going to do one more. Yep, that's probably good. Okay, and now you're left with a zigzag pattern in the back that we're going to probably add some beads or some wire just to give it more texture. Okay, so now we're going to do the two spirals. I checked my glass again. It sits perfectly. And we're going to do a spiral on the top, an open spiral, so that you can hang it. You can put the nail in it. So we're keeping the spiral open like that. And this is just a trick that you just, with practice, you can get it. And it actually is all in the wrist. To keep it consistent, it's all in the wrist. There we go. Perfect. And I'm just going to, like that. Perfect. And then we're going to do the bottom. There we go. And again, I think I'm going to hammer this a little bit just to give it a nicer, flatter, more polished look. It's just to add texture. You can always leave it like this if you don't have a hammer, but flattening it is also good. So this is so far how it looks. I'm just going to move this out of the way. And because this is loud, and you might see my dog is snoring in the background, she's probably going to leave the room. I'm just putting these on, and I will hammer this. Okay, you'll notice after hammering it, sometimes it does stuff like this, and that's totally fine. Just readjust it to make it flat, and then you can decide if the spacing works for you or if you want to close some of these zigzags a little bit. And this is going to sit flat on the wall, so if you put beads on it, make sure they're small beads so that it doesn't stick off from the wall. Or this could be the end product, and that's totally fine. I do like adding a little bit more texture to it, so we're going to add more texture. And I thought I would add some turquoise beads. I can find some. So my turquoise beads have a really small hole, so I'm using 22 gauge wire to wrap around with the turquoise beads. Just remember, you need a place for the nail to go, and I'm going to put the nail up top here, so I guess you can put a bead in the middle here if you want, or I sometimes put the nail right in the center of the spiral, so just be mindful of that when you're placing your beads. Okay, and now just taking some beads, there we go, and we're going to start just spiraling the wire randomly. Just be conscious when you put beads on it that it's still sitting nice and flat on the wall. Okay, and there's no method to this, it's just random. Okay, now that you've finished wrapping it, oh, it's looking so good right now. You can stop here, and I think I will, but you also can add more designs down here, another spiral. You could use a 10 gauge, do a spiral, go down. I'm keeping this one simple for now, but I have my water here, putting that in, and then some flowers that I just picked. And it's just a little bouquet, and dipping it in there. Perfect. It is so pretty. I can't wait to put it on my wall. What do you think? What do you think of the design? What would you add or what would you take away? I felt that maybe the beads weren't even necessary because the texture does come from the wire wrapping. And I find that it's so cute. Love it. I can't wait for my son to bring me home some dandelions so I can put it in. Thanks so much for watching. Please keep those comments and suggestions coming. I read them all, and I try and respond to as many as I can. See you in the next one.